The following podcast may contain adult language and an abundance of salt. So get ready, nerds, because we're talking Halo Episode 4, Homecoming. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Salty Nerd Podcast, where we regrettably talk about Halo, the series on Paramount+. I'm joined, as always, by my fantastic panel of nerds. Matt Vader's here. What's up, dude?
Are we at the regrettably phase?
I'm so done.
I mean, I don't feel like this show is that bad yet. This isn't like Star Trek.
This
Picard level
episode...
bad. This is not a good episode.
Not a good episode.
But the entire franchise isn't ruined because of one bad episode.
Not yet, but I'm like...
We're committed, dude.
I know.
We're committed for like, what is it, 4 more episodes? 5 more episodes?
5.
Yeah, 5.
Yeah.
So I know. I'm just kind of feeling a little deflated this week. This episode kind of took...
Filler. It was a filler week.
It kind of took the wind
Budget
out of
buster
me.
filler week.
They
just got to, you know...
When you have 9 episodes, you can't have a filler week.
Apparently you can.
God damn it. Judah's also here.
I hate it.
She's walking away. Matt Decadish is also here. Welcome, sir.
I guess I'm alone on my hill here because I'm not disliking this show and I didn't dislike this episode.
You're not completely alone. This was just kind of a boring episode.
The problem with this show is that Paramount's insisting on doing the week-to-week thing, whereas they made this show as like a 9-hour movie. Mm-hmm. And when you have situations like that, you need to be able to like binge it. Because, you know, when you have these slow episodes, with like the last 3 episodes we got, episodes 2 through 4, were all set up episodes. Like they're setting up stuff for like later on in the season. And they needed to do this to lay the groundwork for the story that they're telling, I believe. But the problem is because it's week to week, the last 3 episodes have been so slow and lacking in action that people are getting frustrated with it. Whereas like if we were able to like just binge the season, we'd be able to blow through these episodes and see how they fit into like the later half of the season, like right away. And I think that Paramount is making a mistake by doing the week to week thing with this. Whereas something like Outer Range works with the week-to-week format because like there's enough mystery there and stuff like that where you can theorize. With this, you're just kind of like bored for most of the time.
Yeah.
I have zero interest in binging this show.
Do we have to call Tom?
You're not even a Halo fan to begin with.
That's
so
true.
you have like no connection to this
That's true.
franchise at all.
I was really hoping that, because you guys were so jazzed for this and it kind of got me excited for it. I was really hoping after the first episode that I would eventually get into it, and I just am not.
Yeah.
We also need to point out that this series in particular has been problematic for us simply because of dealing with CBS's copy strikes on YouTube. It's not an issue on our audio end, but because of CBS being run by like fascists who will copy strike anything that has even like a second of video in it.
Yeah.
We've been forced to mix up our format and use still frames instead of like actual video. So the contextual clips that we use in our normal like video reviews, we're not able to do that here because CBS is just run by a bunch of jerks.
Yep.
So you know, it's been trying.
I feel like
difficult.
we should create our own mobile game called Copy Strike, where the salty nerds fight CBS, and you can play it on your phone.
I made a comparison, I think it was last week when we talked about this show, and I was like, you know, or maybe it was on like Discord or something, but I was like, I think a lot of fans were expecting like Band of Brothers in the Halo universe. Like you're following a group of ODST soldiers, they're going on crazy ass missions, they're fighting the Covenant, Master Chief is like their leader or whatever. Right. Like that's what I think a lot of people were hoping for, and we're getting this like gray area, everybody's kind of bad, there's no real clear good guy and bad guy. It's just I think it's not capturing the first person shooter fans that enjoy the Halo games.
I completely feel you. I do. I do not feel that way though, simply because I have no connection to this. So I'm probably enjoying this series a little bit more than you or a hardcore Halo fan. So yeah, I this is not a good episode, but overall the series has been okay, and I'm not out yet. So yeah, I'm intrigued.
And
but
I also feel like the producers and writers or what have you are setting the stage where basically like the UNSC and the UEG and all this stuff are like awful. And Master Chief starts off as awful. And then throughout the course of the season, he becomes the Master Chief we know from the games, where he's like the inspiration. He's the catalyst for change. He's the guy who's going to save the universe. And so like we needed to start in a bad place in order for Master Chief to take everything to a good place, either by the end of this season or later on, because the last 3 episodes have really just been about Master Chief learning to become human again. And at the end of this episode, we see how he basically knows not to trust Halsey anymore. And so he's kind of on his own. And this is like his origin story, basically, for what we eventually get in the video games. So I'm kind of still on board with it. But at the same time, you know, I'm like, I wish that they had found a more interesting way to do this.
All right. Before we get into it, guys, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. And then we're going to dive super deep into this episode. Welcome back, everybody. Hey, if you want to support the podcast and download an awesome free mobile game, head over to saltynerd.com/DC and download Dragon Champions. It's a really fun, free-to-play mobile game where you get to collect your heroes, upgrade them, and go on raids and fight different players and stuff like that. And you can also do a campaign where you can go progress through a particular storyline. It's a ton of fun. We enjoy playing it. We actually have a Salty Nerd guild. So if you get to level 20, you can join our guild. There's only 25 spots open for the guild. So get in as soon as you can. Download Dragon Champions and type in the promo code SALTY to get a free character and a bunch of money to kind of like help you along your way. We've heard from multiple people who have downloaded the game and used our promo code that it was a huge help getting started, and it helps you progress really, really fast. So you can get to that level 20 really quick and join our guild. We'd really appreciate it. We love the guys at Dragon Champions. They support the crap out of us, and we want to return the favor. So head over there, download the game, and join us in our guild. All right, take it away, Mr. Kadish. What is this episode all about?
All right, Halo Season 1, Episode 4, entitled Homecoming. So basically what we're doing with this show is we're breaking it down based off of storylines as opposed to doing like a scene-by-scene recap of the show, just to make it a little bit more streamlined and make it easier to follow. So we're going to start with the worst first, Kwan Ha's storyline.
Which was the majority of this freaking show.
Well, it felt like it, but actually Master Chief had the longer storyline.
Really?
Anyway, yeah.
Oh, man.
So Soren lands his ship on Madrigal, and Kwan keeps talking to Soren like she's actually paid him, and Soren keeps acting like the dumb kid actually has money. Kwan keeps bitching about not being able to sleep, and Soren chalks it up to bad memories and talks about how he had no memories while in the Spartan program. But eventually the memories came back, and he remembered he killed his own father, and that memories make you what you are, and that's what's important, like killing your father. As they start walking to Madrigal City, Kwan complains that Soren parked too far away, and Soren is all like, we're going to do this my way. And apparently his way is to park his ship in a wide open desert in direct line of sight of a city full of rebels and scavengers, because what's the worst that could happen, right? Inside Madrigal City, Venture Grath and his Grathstapo have the whole city under fascistic control. We know this because they walk around all in black, carry weapons, and drive in sweet yet fuel-efficient Chevy Tahoes of the future.
Played by actual employees of CBS.
Yes. Kwan and Soren make their way to a black marketplace and make contact with Kwan's cousin, who is Indian instead of Korean. Kwan tries to figure out who's leading the militia, and Atu tells her to come to the memorial for her father, which conveniently is happening that day.
Thank you.
And she can find her dad's generals there. A holographic picture of Kwan and the huge bounty on her head then appears on a wall of the black market, and Kwan pulls her hood up over her head because no one will ever be able to recognize her unless they see her ridiculous haircut. Kwan and Soren go to the memorial for her father, and Kwan starts bitching about the small turnout, seemingly forgetting the part where Ha loyalists were all being publicly executed in the streets. Kwan then not so subtly makes her way to her father's top general, Agatha. Agatha is all like, Kwan, it's dangerous here. And Kwan's like, I like to live dangerously. Tell me the plan. Agatha calmly explains that there is no plan because all the resistance leaders were killed by Grath and the revolution is over. And Kwan starts shouting, no, we need to fight. You're all traitors. And begins making a scene like a crazy person. Just then, the Grathstapo security forces show up in their stylish yet fuel-efficient futuristic Chevy Tahoes and begin beating the shit out of people. And Soren is able to get Kwan away to safety. And the audience is all like, no, why? Soren then watches as the Grathstapo find his spaceship and begins scrapping it, making Soren believe that it's time to go home. But Kwan is like, you leave now and you no get paid. And Soren is like, bitch, you don't have any money. And Kwan insists that her aunt is the one in charge of the family fortune and that they need to go see her. While Soren and Kwan go to see the rich auntie, Venture Grath hires the best female assassin on Madrigal, Violetta Franco, to hunt Kwan down and kill her, making us wonder if Venture Grath is really a bad guy after all. Kwan finds her aunt Moneybags, who tells her that she should not have returned, and everyone's like, duh. She then takes Kwan to her office and tells Soren to go fuck off, and Soren's like, okay, I guess I'll go see about my ship. Soren then gets word from a black market dealer that his ship has been scrapped and there's no way to recover it. Soren is told that the fastest way off planet are transport ships that take off from a city named Ramada, 200 miles south of Madrigal City. Soren then steals the guy's goofy helmet and bike because he's a pirate, I guess. In her aunt's office, Kwan discovers her family is broke because her father blew the family fortune on financing the revolution. Because there is no money, no one wants to fight, but Kwan insists that the people want to take down Venturegrass and the space fascists. They just need to be reminded what they're fighting for. Aunt Moneybags tells Kwan that her father fought for a lie and that General Ha visited mystics in the desert and returned convinced that it was his responsibility to free Madrigal and reveal the Ha family's true purpose on the planet. But before Aunt Moneybags can reveal this true purpose, the assassin Violetta Franco breaks in and kills the aunt, and then takes her sweet time not killing Kwan, giving Soren enough time to show up and shoot her and rescue Kwan, and everyone's like, God damn it. Soren then takes Kwan on his stolen bike and puts on his ridiculous stolen helmet and outruns the Grathstapo's stupid futuristic Chevy Tahoes as he spirits Kwan out of the city and into the desert.
Riveting.
I was praying so hard that one of those stray bullets was going to hit her.
Listen, like, I get why she's going back home. She wants to.
I want to go home.
Yeah, but
I want to go be the leader.
She's such
of
a
the rebellion.
grating character. Yeah. She's not likable yet. I don't know if maybe that'll change soon. I have no idea. We're only a couple episodes in, but as of right now, I don't like watching her do her thing because she just gets everybody else in trouble.
Yeah.
That's the only thing she's good at doing is getting other people into a tight spot.
So here's my question. Just I've been wanting to ask this for a couple of weeks now. Does this character have anything to do with the actual lore and games of what we've come before, or is she an insert for this series?
I have to preface this with, as far as I know, she is just a character made for this show.
Okay, but the rest of these characters are established characters, right?
Yeah.
I feel like that's why it feels like she doesn't fit in at all, because she's a completely made up character.
But she just
specifically
whines all
for
the
this
time.
show. And that's the thing. Like, she keeps acting like she knows exactly what to do, where to go, how to go about stuff, everything that needs to happen. It's all up here, man. And she doesn't.
Yeah.
And she, everywhere that she goes, she wreaks havoc. She gets people's shit taken and shit beat up.
Yeah,
She gets people murdered.
I'm so glad that
it makes me wonder why they would have an insert character like this when they have so much other stuff.
I don't know
that people actually want to see.
Yeah, like even if they was just Soren,
you know,
like Soren's a character from the lore.
What is the fucking point of this character? That's so irritating that it makes me want to kill myself rather than watch this show.
Also, Soren should be a little bit more street smart than he is in this stuff. I mean, like he's been out on his own for a while. He's a Spartan. Like, this girl is like pulling his strings, even though like she hasn't paid him. And like the whole thing about him going with her was like, well, if you turn out to be lying, I'm just going to turn you in for the bounty. And like, he doesn't do that.
Yeah. He's just completely following her lead, and he shouldn't be.
No, she's terrible. And I'm so glad that you mentioned, like, when she goes there and her cousin or whatever is like, oh, go to your father's memorial service. And I'm like, oh, that's convenient.
Exactly.
Yeah. She's like,
how long have you been off planet? They're having it today?
Yeah.
Like
just
3
so
days.
happens to have it today, the day she gets on the planet. They're like, oh, yeah, they're having a memorial service for your father. And then she goes there.
That whole thing made me infuriated.
At this point in time, she knows she's wanted on this planet. She's going to get caught. She knows that her entire family's like organization, her father's generals and all that are like underground or dead. And she goes to this freaking thing and she makes a big freaking hubbub about it.
You're gonna get everybody
You're all
killed.
traitors, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what are you doing? Shut up. Why are you so loud?
Yeah, shut the fuck up.
It's like, Jesus.
Put a wig on or something.
It's
My
like,
God.
like Soren's over there just like, oh shit, now I got to get her out of this fix. Like, the character only serves the show is to get other people into situations that somebody has to get out of. It's just like, it's infuriating. It's boring. I don't care about her.
Yeah.
She has no ability to A, be chill, or B, like, be undercover.
Yeah. Like I
She
mentioned,
keeps taking that fucking hood off, like Master Chief takes his helmet off.
oh, they trolled us on that this week.
Yeah.
I'm going
know.
to talk
It's
about
like,
that.
give us that show. Give us a show about Master Chief. I don't care about this chick.
Yeah.
It's like,
Give us,
I feel like she's the fucking Jar Jar Binks of the Halo world. You know what I mean? It's like, nobody gives a shit.
That was good.
Nobody cares.
Yeah.
Kill her already. Get her off the show.
Or let her go off and like, get revenge or whatever and have her story be done.
Yeah.
Just like end it.
But this is gonna end up becoming
gonna
the
go
Kwan Ha show.
The
and
entire goddamn show.
Yeah. Even when she was quietly trying to talk to the general or whatever, she still like takes her fucking hood off and is like talking at a normal tone. Everybody's praying, dude.
It's super quiet.
You're being obvious. And she's like, let's start a revolution.
Oh, and then she...
But shh about
okay,
it,
so
right?
here's another
wink.
thing that really made me mad is that she's at this memorial service for her father.
Being very disrespectful also.
Yeah, exactly.
Talking over the prayers.
But like, these are the people who, despite the fact that they're under this like authoritarian, whatever the hell the word is, this Nazi rulership, and they're wanted people.
Tahoe regime.
The Chevy Tahoe regime, the Chevy regime, and they're going to this memorial service knowing that they're putting themselves at risk, and then she goes and proceeds to call them all traitors.
Yeah,
like these are literally the only people who might be loyal to you.
You've been safe off planet for how long now, and they're all traitors.
About
Fuck
30,
you.
about 36 hours.
Yeah.
Has it been 36 hours?
Day and a half, 2 days maybe. I don't know.
I don't know either. Because it seemed like she was hanging out with Soren on that planet for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they're like, talking about going back to dinner.
Well,
She's staying with them.
Space travel is like a ball of yarn.
So like the entire revolution and resistance on Madrigal was completely wiped out within like 3 days. Is that how it worked?
Seems like it.
Yeah. You missed all that.
Because the Covenant came and killed the one guy that was holding it all together, I guess. And then not only does she like just start shouting at people who might be loyal to her, and she's like, I'm going to go see my aunt. She's the one who has all the money. And then she gets her aunt killed because she's like, she can't cover a trail. She's a dumbass.
She doesn't even react when her aunt's like, there's no money. She's like, where are these mystics?
Yeah.
You promised that guy Soren all this money to protect your fucking ass, and you don't even have an ounce of shit for him.
Well, the thing that also got me is like logically the first place that she should have gone was to her aunt. Yeah. Instead of like the prayer service and like the black market and stuff like that. It's like she was like, I got to seek out the revolution, and it's like, no, you should have sought out your family member who had all the money.
Yeah. And then, like, I'm watching this, and it was funny because, like, as soon as the aunt showed up, I was like, I'm more interested in her character than Kwan Ha.
Same.
Like, I was watching, I'm like, this aunt looks like a badass.
She seemed very logical.
Yeah.
I wish it was like Lucy Liu. That would have been cool.
I literally wanted Venture Graph to just like win. I was like, kill her, take over.
Yeah.
And she's the assassin chick.
No, that was...
No, that was Franco.
Something or other. I can't remember her name, but Venture Graph is the guy
that was killing everyone.
Main Nazi dude.
Oh, okay.
The one who showed his ass in this episode too. We got another ass shot.
We did.
There's lots of butts.
There's lots of butts.
Lots of butts in this show.
Yeah,
which is so needed. There's a couple of things I really am so glad that the showrunners decided to show me a Halo fan. It's Chief's ass.
We should
Master Cheeks, I think is what they're calling it.
Cheeks.
Yeah. And then we've got
what the kids say.
Yeah.
Can we have a Salty Nerd butt cheek episode?
What the hell are you talking about?
We all talk with our ass
I'll just moon.
No.
I can moon everybody.
No.
Vader really wants to show people his butt. Ever since the tattoo failed.
Yeah, where are we at on that?
We got like 5K to go by July 4th.
Shut up.
Better get your shit together, people.
Or you're going to miss all this.
I missed all my ass.
What a motivation.
Right.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, but the thing that gets me is like, so Soren's supposed to be like this like legit pirate who knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
He's like a trained Spartan, so like he knows how to infiltrate and exfiltrate. Then he just like parks his spaceship in the middle of like an open line of sight desert.
I'm sure it'll be okay.
And he's surprised when like they find his ship and start tearing it apart.
Everything that he did in this episode, I'm like, how have you survived this long?
He's got like a single 6-shooter pistol.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
who are we talking about?
But it's gold.
Soren.
Oh, Soren.
Did you black out again?
Yeah,
Spartan 066, right? Is he 66? Yeah. He's got like a 6-shooter that's like gold plated or something.
I'm just seeing vagina and butt all over this thing. I don't know what's going on with me right now.
What are you talking about?
I don't know, dude. There's stuff on TV.
Did that freaking Red Label, whatever the hell, did something to you?
I can't do shots between shows anymore.
You know,
Vader's all horned up.
It
I'm
used
all
to be
horned up.
just tequila made him horny, and now I think that we've conditioned him where all alcohol makes him horny.
Yeah,
Yes.
something.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, this whole storyline, like, it was such a drag on the episode that I wasn't into it. I just don't care.
The episode literally came to a screeching halt every time Kwan Ha showed her stupid face and her stupid haircut.
And it's funny that you mentioned.
She does have a pretty epic mullet.
Well, it was funny that you mentioned. I was like, oh, she has like the longest storyline in the show, and you're like, actually, she doesn't. She has less story time than Master Chief. Because when I watched this episode 3 times, I was like, oh my God, she's like the majority of the show is just Kwan Ha, but it just feels like that.
Yeah, I was texting you guys while I was watching
Yeah,
it.
you were like, God damn it. Yeah, you were freaking out.
I hate her.
I don't care about her. I don't like her. I'd rather watch Soren go do some badass shit. Like, she just is a drag.
Like if she wasn't so whiny and she actually like had intelligence in how she approached this stuff, it might be a different story.
Right.
But like this was like the worst part of this episode was just watching her kind of like fumble her way through. It's like, I'm going to fight a revolution. It's like, oh, all my father's generals and loyalists have been killed, but people just need to be reminded what they're fighting for. And it's it's so stupid.
She barrels ahead, full steam ahead with nothing to back it up.
Yeah.
And the worst part is like Soren's going along with her, like following her lead, where like he should be the one being like, bitch, you're going to get us killed. Do what I tell you to do. This is how we're going to do things. Like Soren really should have been the one leading the charge on this one and finding out how to like find her rebellion. And
what
stuff
is she,
like
14?
Yeah.
It's like, shut up, you little.
Like all she's good for is finding drugs.
I know. Go find some shrooms.
Go
out
find
in
some
the rocks.
shrooms.
Yeah.
Yeah, while you're back in Madrigal, go get some shrooms, sell them, buy a new ship for your friend Soren, who risked his life.
Oh man.
Yeah, and he landed his ship and they instantly got
like the Jawas came
That
and like
made
took
no
his
Did he
sense.
land in North Las Vegas or something? Where did he go?
There's a mountain right there. Park behind it, you dum-dum.
Well, that was the city. That was the Madrigal city.
He landed on a landing pad.
No, it was in the dunes. He landed in the desert. That
throw some sand over it or something. Hide it.
Yeah, like park it somewhere. But the thing that gets me the most is that Madrigal City, you would think that the revolution, the insurrectionists, the rebellion would be outside of the hub of governmental power on the planet.
Right, like they'd be outside, because kind of like where they were at the beginning at the refinery. Like that was outside the city, and they were kind of doing their own thing.
Just the whole
thing
of I'm going to land my ship, my badass ship, and immediately it's going to get attacked by a bunch of Jawas and dismantle. It's just, it's so dumb.
It should be like the Fremen in Dune.
Yeah,
living in the mountains, living in the desert.
It happened in The Mandalorian. It happened in this. It's probably happened in other shows that I'm forgetting right now. It's just like, okay.
The real nail in the coffin for this storyline for me was at the end when her aunt was telling her about her father's like special trip to the oracles or some shit like that. And I'm like, my eyes immediately rolled in the back of my head.
I don't care.
I'm like, oh, she's special. Like the family is special now. And what worries me is there's some theories rolling around in the Halo fandom or whatever that's like Kwan Ha has never been seen touching the keystone, and it's speculated that she's going to end up being a reclaimer, and she's going to be able to activate the forerunner technology.
Of course she is.
And I was just like, Jesus,
that's what we're gearing up for.
The Kwan Ha show. I don't care. Kill her. Get her out of the show.
All right.
I want Master Chief. I want Halsey. I want Cortana. I want more badass Spartan
Elites.
chick butts.
Chicken butt.
I did like her butt. That was pretty cool.
Spartan chick butts.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd even see more Master Chief butts if it gives us more of that story. Whatever. I don't give a shit.
I don't care whose ass it is. I'm
they should put their helmets on and just have them flopping around. And flying just with their guns. That'd be okay.
We'll talk about it in a minute. But I saw a clip on TikTok or something like that where somebody was talking about this show, and they're like, all right, so every time you see Master Chief, the question you have to ask yourself now is, would it be weird if he was wearing his helmet?
Yeah.
And it was like, he's in the shower with no clothes on, taking his freaking chip out.
Honestly,
and he's just wearing a helmet.
That would make this so much better for me if he never took the helmet off.
But he was naked.
Just like swinging it around.
Helicoptering.
Walking around, opening the blinds, vacuuming.
Just with the helmet.
I want this to be a comedy.
Yeah, it could be. It could very easily be. What are you doing?
He's helicoptering.
Oh, is that how you do it?
That's what it looks like.
Hold
on, I can't.
Is yours forged?
Okay. Have we said enough about Kwan Ha? We all dislike her.
Yes.
She's the worst part of the show.
Let's say less, in fact.
Well, the whole thing is like, so their storyline ends with them riding into the desert on their moped. And,
with a stupid ass helmet.
Yeah, with the dumbest helmets, being chased by futuristic Chevy Tahoes.
Okay.
And so they're either going to Kwan Ha is obviously going to convince him to go to the Mystics in the desert instead of the 200-mile away city where they can get a transport off
Mystics
planet.
in the desert.
The Tahosians.
Just like, are they?
This is fucking oracles, dude.
Are those the Fremen?
Like in 300?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the ugly people with no faces.
So they have like hot
one hot chick who
teenage
dances.
chicks who's all stoned. And
Zack Snyder's gonna direct the episode. It's gonna be fucking great.
Black and white, and it's like little nipples coming through the shirt.
Yes.
Stuff. Yeah. All right.
That was a great scene.
I love that scene. I love that movie.
Did it make you helicopter?
Dude, what happened?
Have we ever done 300 for the pod?
Yes.
I was just picturing that scene with the oracle dancing.
Yeah.
It's like all
Made me chuckle.
yeah.
With the see-through scarf and
And
shit.
Vader said nipples, and I lost it.
Nipples.
Yeah, we did a Frank Miller week.
Yeah.
Was it audio?
Where we did 300.
No, I think
Was
we
it
did
audio
video.
or video?
No, it was video because I remember making black and white for the Spirit in Sin City.
Okay. All right.
Anyway, the next storyline on our list is Silver Teams, but before we get into that, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. Hey, real quick, before we get into the next storyline, I want to remind you that you can support the podcast by going to saltynerdstore.com and buying some of our merch. We have a lot of really cool shirts that Vader has behind him there. We got Plucky Sidekick. We got the You Goonies, and then my favorite, the Salty Nerd Podcast logo that we're wearing. We really appreciate it if you guys rock some of our stuff and take pictures of it and send it to us because we like sharing that kind of stuff on the social medias as well. You can't buy that hat anywhere.
It's one of a kind.
It's a one-of-a-kind hat.
There's
Anyway.
also a coupon code, right?
Yes, there is. For 10% off, type in salty and you can make your purchase a little cheaper. But yeah.
It might pay for the shipping.
Is that what coupons do?
That's what they do. All right, that's it. So if you want to support the podcast, saltynerdstore.com, buy some merch. Really appreciate it. All right, next story on our list is Silver Timeline or
Yes.
Silver Team.
Silver Team.
Miranda Keys and the Silver Team. So back at Reach,
That sounds like a really dope band name.
It does.
Miranda Keys and the Silver Team. Okay.
We'll dig it.
So back at Reach, Kai is pulling a Master Cheeks and removing her emotional regulator just like she saw John do. Now that she has her emotions back, she starts doing girly things like cleaning her sniper rifle and putting pink streaks in her hair. Silver Team then shows up at the lab containing the Keystone where Miranda Keys is waiting for them to do some biometric tests. Kai recognizes the Keystone that she and Master Chief found on Madrigal. Miranda wants to test to see how the Keystone reacts to the other Spartans to try to figure out what makes John 117 special. Riz and Vanek both fail to activate the Keystone, much to Miranda's disappointment. Miranda calls in Kai, and when she removes her helmet, Miranda is taken aback by Kai's terrible hair coloring. Kai then calls Miranda out on not liking Spartans and then proceeds to school Miranda on how badass Spartans are before touching the artifact when nothing happens yet again. And after seeing Kai get all insubordinate, Riz and Vanek are all like, what the fuck is up with that bitch? At Miranda's lab, she concludes her testing with Silver Team and the artifact, and Kai starts talking about how her favorite Covenant weapon is the Needler, which Miranda has lying around her lab. Miranda soon discovers the Spartans have a basic understanding of the Covenant language and recognizes a word from the message that they intercepted from McKee. Miranda then gets the idea to have Silver Team help her translate McKee's recording. Miranda is excited to find the Spartans are able to teach her a great deal about the Covenant language and can't believe that they didn't ask the Spartans about this stuff years ago, but remembers that Halsey always keeps her Spartans extremely isolated from the rest of the UNSC. Kai shares a story about how all the Spartans had pets that eventually got killed when they failed a training exercise, and how much fun it was, making Miranda not so bitter about having an absentee mother like Halsey for a change. Later that evening, Miranda is going through the McKee recording with Kai, trying to translate it. They figure out the Covenant word for keystone, and Kai talks about how awful Miranda thinks her hair is, and Miranda chalks it up to just a small act of rebellion. After rewatching Master Chief's recordings of the artifact being found on Madrigal, Kai translates the word sacred ring as halo, which corresponds to the image the artifact creates when Master Chief touches it, and we get our first hint of the halo theme in that scene. Miranda asks Kai not to report this discovery to Halsey for the time being, and Kai agrees, saying that they're sort of like Miranda's sisters. Miranda then explains to Kai that when Halsey's creations behave in unexpected ways, or behave like they're actually human, that makes Halsey uncomfortable because humans behave irrationally and make decisions based on emotion. Miranda warns Kai that her act of rebellion could be a glitch, but that her mother doesn't tolerate glitches. Hashtag glitches get stitches.
For the most part, for the most part, I really enjoyed the crap out of this part of the show.
Yeah, it didn't bother me.
I really liked watching Miranda kind of finally interact with the Spartans. And I love how the Spartans were portrayed, like that scene where they were like, here, come into this room. And they walk in and it sounds like freaking like these huge, massive people come into this room with their armor. I was like, oh, fuck. You know, like,
I felt like there was some characters that we actually like in this show that got a little bit of character growth.
Yeah.
You know, what's the Spartan's name?
The redheaded
Kai?
one?
With the hair dye and shit.
Kai, right?
Yeah,
Kai.
what was that?
So
I thought it was
gun
blood
grease.
at first.
No, it's
Gun
gun
grease.
grease.
Oh.
So, you know, she's very Spartan, so I'm going to think it's gun
Yeah.
grease.
I am gonna
Color my hair.
I'm gonna call
so-
bullshit on one part though, is when she was in the bathroom and she was doing that and she was like cutting that little nugget out of her back or whatever.
Yeah,
And
he
she
had
had-
Cortana for that.
Yeah. Well, she just did it on her own, I guess.
Well,
Just cut into
she
his-
saw John do it, and they have like perfect recall.
Right.
And so like she
Oh.
just remembered what he did and did
I
the
did not know
same
that.
thing.
But I'm gonna call, because they're perfect. They're Spartans and they're super aware of everything. And what's the other Spartan
Riz.
chicks? Riz comes in and she's like, "Are you okay?" While she's sitting there with a bloody knife and like she's
And a
sitting
hole in
and her
her
hole in her back, completely naked in the bathroom. She's like, "Are you okay?" "Yeah, I'm totally fine."
Yeah, great.
"Okay, cool."
Yeah.
Like I'm like,
Are you want me to do this to you?
do you not see what's happening right now?
Okay.
Are they all going to get this procedure at some point?
Did this
Maybe.
not remind you of that scene in Road Trip where Tom Green is like recounting this tale and everyone in the scene is naked, just like naked chicks talking to each other? And they were like, that's not how girls talk. And he's like, shut up, this is mine.
Yeah.
That was this.
I gotcha. If Riz was naked, I would have been, yeah.
I'm never
100%.
going to say no to little butt action, little ass, little
Hey.
naked ass. Even if it's
It
got
didn't bother me.
Spartan scars. And
That
stuff,
part
that's
didn't
fine,
bother
whatever.
me. What bothered me
You
was
like
that
a little butt action.
A little
huh?
like little butt action. Yeah.
Okay, are you good?
What?
I want to say something. I
I'm sorry.
just thought it was really dumb that this Spartan like was literally staring there watching her do this procedure, or at least the aftermath of it, and like not put two and two together.
100%.
I was like, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Why?
Do they have like a quick heel factor or something?
Well, she had like a piece
Maybe.
of tape or like a healing something over it, but it was see-through.
Yeah.
The whole time I'm like looking at Riz, looking at Kai, looking at Riz, looking at
Yeah.
Kai, looking at Riz, looking at Kai. I'm like, don't you fucking see that?
Yeah.
She has blood in her hand. You
Yeah.
have no
Yeah.
questions? No
Yeah.
questions?
No questions at
Cool,
all.
man.
Okay.
Cool.
Be like, hey, why did you just take that thing out of?
Did
the
you
middle
just
of your
murder
back?
someone with this bloody knife? Like, what's up?
Yeah. One question would have been better than
Yeah.
what she did.
How about what's going on with that bloody knife?
But both Riz and Vanek, they're still following their Spartan programming, which is basically like they don't question anything; they just follow orders. Whereas Kai and Chief are the ones who are like kind of like going against their programming. One thing I did like about this storyline was that Kai finally got a personality. Like I found her very kind of interesting and refreshing in a weird way, because like she's so different from Master Chief, where she's going around and she's talking about like, like I made it 9 times before I got caught, and then I had to kill my puppy.
I like this. Like them going around and telling the tales of
Right.
being a Spartan. I
Yeah.
was into that.
I was
wish
too.
that was the whole show.
And that was something that was actually taken from the actual Spartans of ancient Greece did that type of thing, where they would
Yeah.
give the kids like pets, and then like they would be forced to like kill the pets and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah, there's a reason why they're actually called Spartans in this universe. Is Halsey took a lot of that like culture from the ancient Greek Spartans into how she created these soldiers. So
But I really love the scene. Like obviously, like when they first come into the lab, Miranda like kind of looks down upon them, where she's just like, "Oh, Spartans!" Like,
Yeah.
whatever. And Kai picks up on the fact that she doesn't like them, and she kind of like schools Miranda on like like we did this, we did that, we did this, and like and then she like touches the thing, and Miranda's like, "No, don't," and nothing happens, and she's
Yeah.
just like stop being such a pussy.
pansy. Another part that I really liked is like the hair dye thing was kind of goofy, but I understood what they were doing. It's just
Giving her a little
a
personality.
little personality, a little bit of a rebellion thing.
Yeah.
I understood it. She used gun grease, I guess. I don't know. I didn't know that dyed your hair, but it's fine.
I think it actually would work. Don't you?
Maybe.
No?
I don't know. It would probably stink though, wouldn't it? After a while.
I don't know.
Unless you really like the smell
also,
of gun
use
grease.
a mirror. Your application was shit.
Well, she
Well,
never dyed her hair.
She's
before.
she's a soldier.
Anyway, the scene where they go in and they're like looking over the Covenant technology and stuff like that, and she picks up the needler and she starts talking about how freaking cool it is.
This was the best.
I fucking love that scene. It was so cool because I'm sitting there, I'm like, yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It's so freaking cool. Like the little crystals on the side, and when you shoot it, it tracks organic. I was like, fuck yes.
And she's like so like giddy about like how there's just a puff of like red mist after like.
I'm like, I get the same way.
An excited Spartan, I'm here for it.
Yeah, excited about death.
Yeah.
Yes. I just that whole scene like made me kind of nerd out as far as like a gamer goes, because I was like watching it. I'm like, that gun is pretty fucking dope.
I'm hoping as the show goes along that all 4 of the Spartans get a little bit of personality.
And did you notice that like whenever Miranda was in her lab, they had like this big vat of Covenant worms in there
from the hunters? Yeah. So they've been doing studies on these. On the Covenant for a while. So
they had like a whole elite corpse there that they were like kind of like autopsying. Right?
Yeah.
And I love like the translation stuff.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
As soon as Miranda was like, hold on.
You know how to speak.
Again.
Yeah. You know how to say Sandhili words. It's like, oh yeah, we're out there all the time. We hear them scream things.
You see the light bulb go on over Miranda's head.
Yeah.
And I like their explanation. It's like, well, this is their word for needler. Either that or it's like, oh shit, don't kill me.
Yeah. All of this was great.
Yeah. Yeah, I enjoyed the heck out of all that.
And I do like that they took the time to explain like why they hadn't debriefed the Spartans on this stuff before, where it's basically Halsey just like keeps them isolated. And Miranda's just like, man, like I wish like we had talked to you guys like years ago.
Yeah, like they've been fighting the Covenant for how long now? We're speculating close to 15
Shouldn't we
years.
be collaborating?
Shouldn't we be doing something?
Yeah.
So it was a little bit convenient that they haven't done anything until this point, but it worked. It's fine.
There was also this weird like sibling rivalry with Miranda where she was kind of resentful of the Spartans because they took her mother away from her basically. And that scene where like Kai is like, we're like sisters.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah. And Miranda's just like, just so you know, you're not really my sister.
Yeah.
And my mother's probably going to kill you.
Yeah. Kai was very cute in this scene. And then Miranda immediately like puts her arm up and keeps her at arm's length and is like, and by the way, you need to shut this shit down or you're going to get murdered.
But it was really good in setting up Halsey as like Halsey is the big villain, the big bad of the season. Yeah. Obviously.
That was something that's what I wanted to say. Like the first 1 or 2 episodes, Halsey isn't that bad, but they're really like,
she's
drumming it in that she's a bad guy.
She's
and here's why.
She's a full-on Mengele.
Yeah. And everything that you see, like every scene that Halsey's in, this is all a facade. And everything that's real about her is everything that you see when she's not in the scene. And I think that's interesting.
Yeah, I agree. I enjoyed the heck out of this whole scene. It was good stuff. Really good stuff.
That's
really good character
growth.
development. Yeah. And it's funny that you mentioned that you want to see the Spartans have personalities as the show goes on. There's a clip I saw, I think it was a promo for episode 5 that comes up next where, what's the male Spartan? Vanek? Okay. Vanek is talking to, I can't keep these freaking people's names straight. I'm so sorry. The one with the pink hair.
Spartan 2.
Yeah, Kai. He's talking to Kai, and Kai starts questioning, like, "Do you ever wonder why you don't question things?" And he's like, "I wonder why you're asking me dumbass questions like that." And I was like, "Yeah,
dude." Vanek has some of the best responses. Like when they go in, and Miranda's like, I'm trying to figure out why Master Chief, is so special. And Vanek's just like, because he's Master Chief.
Yeah.
Quit asking questions.
I wish somebody would recut the entire season once it's done and take all of the Kwan Ha out. Just give me like a 2-hour movie of just all of this.
That's what we wanted to begin with. Yeah.
Somebody's going to do it.
Yeah. We might do it. Screw it.
Cut that bitch out. Cut her out.
Okay, I'm going to talk about Master Chief digging a hole with a shovel in just a minute. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Hey guys, if you want to join our chat in Discord, head over to saltynerdiscord.com. Our goal right now is to get to 200 members. We're pretty dang close. We're up there in like 180 to 190 range right now. So head over to saltynerdiscord.com, join the Discord. We have live chats going on while we're recording these episodes. We have people in the chat right now talking with us, and we'd really love to have you there as well. It's a great community. We have a ton of fun. We do watch parties on Monday nights and all kinds of really cool stuff. So head over to saltynerdiscord.com and join up and help us get to that 200 mark. All right, the next story is Master Chief's. Take it away, Kadish.
Indeed. We start with a flashback to the early days of the Spartan 2 program and get to see all the current Silver Team members and Soren as kids jogging through the fog. But John 117 tries to run away because he wants to go back home, but a freaky and terribly de-aged Halsey tells him, "This is your home." De-aged Halsey gaslights John and tells him that he asked to join the Spartan program and that he's special and he is destined to save all of us. Back in present time, John is staring out at slipspace as Halsey and creepy Aiden discuss his changes, and Halsey doesn't think the Forerunner artifact is a weapon and is part of a greater alien intelligence that she wants to tap into. Cortana tries asking Master Chief where they should start their search for the alien artifact when they arrive at their destination, but Master Chief is distracted by how different slipspace looks without his emotional regulator. Cortana then begins to explain what slipspace is, but once again, Master Chief tells her to fuck off because the writers can't be bothered to actually tell us how slipspace works. Cortana notes that Master Chief appears to be experiencing anxiety, and Chief is all like, "Is this what anxious feels like?" And he just chalks the feeling up to the fact that he's going home. Chief's ship lands on Irradius 2 at the Reach for Life installation where John grew up. Chief puts his helmet on for a change and fires up a warthog to drive Halsey and creepy Aiden out to his old house, where he immediately takes his helmet off again. And at this point, you have to wonder, what's even the point of a Spartan's helmet anymore? Anyway, Chief figures out from his memories the thing that he remembers his dad burying, where the thing he remembers his dad burying might be. So he and creepy Aiden get to digging. They eventually find a buried case that is full of old drawings that John made as a child. Why they didn't just throw these away instead of burying them is anyone's guess, but whatever. They're drawings of the second artifact in a bunch of circles, and Halsey's like, "Whatever could these mean?" And the audience is like, "Dude, they're just circles, chill out."
Circles.
Halo.
John decides to go back to his childhood home, which makes Halsey kind of nervous, and John has Cortana recreate the interior of the home in John's heads-up display in his helmet, and Halsey is like, "Don't believe everything you see in your metaverse trip down memory lane." John then walks around his memory hole of him as a kid drawing stuff, and Halsey asks Cortana what John is seeing, and she's all like, "Fuck if I know, it's all in his head." But John is seeing memories of him finding the second Forerunner artifact and touching it as a child. He then has a memory of Halsey being at his childhood home and talking to him as a kid, which goes against what Halsey always told him about how they met. Halsey is concerned that John is having visions outside the presence of the artifact, and John reveals to her that he saw a memory of their first meeting at his house while his parents were still alive. Halsey gaslights John again about how she rescued him from the orphanage and that he's still dealing with childhood trauma over his parents' death. Creepy Aiden reports to Halsey that Master Chief has reopened neural clusters in his brain, creating emotions mixed with memory, and there's no way of knowing what Master Chief has remembered. But Master Chief is like, "I remember where the second artifact is," and he then drives Halsey and creepy Aiden to the location he saw in his memories. Turns out the second artifact is right underneath a big open hole in a not very well hidden place, but Halsey doesn't care because now she's got a big new alien toy to play with. However, as Master Chief looks at how Halsey is looking at the alien artifact, it's clear, even from behind his rarely worn helmet, that he doesn't trust Halsey anymore.
I'm like,
First of all, that was a waste of a perfectly good briefcase.
I'm right down the middle on this storyline in this show. There's parts that I liked, and there's parts that I really just didn't like at all. First off, we got to address the helmet thing again because yes, I'm a freaking Halo nerd, and I'm pissed that he took his helmet off. They are straight up trolling us fans at this point because I know it doesn't come off that way because how Kay just read it, but in the show, there's a scene where Miranda tells one of the Spartans to take their helmets off, and they reach up for it, but then they cut before they take the helmet off, and then it cuts to Master Chief without his helmet, and I'm like, you sons of fucking... I was sitting there. It took me out of the show. It irritated me. I was like, stop messing with me like that. And the fact that he gets out of the warthog and immediately takes his helmet off for no reason. I was like, you could leave it on for a few minutes, bro. And then he walks away, and then he puts it back on so he can like do the VR thing. It just was like, just stop. Just stop messing with me. Yeah, what's up?
Does it bother you as much that the other Spartans aren't wearing their helmets?
No.
Is it just Master Chief?
It's specifically Master Chief because he is the main character from the games. And that's who I know. And it's kind of like the legend that he never takes his helmet off kind of a thing. It is what it is. And it's that silly GIF meme where in the first game, if you like clip through the spaceship that he's driving, he takes his helmet off, and underneath it is just a smaller Master Chief helmet. It's things like that. It's just the culture of the whole thing. But if you read the books and you go back into some of the other stuff, he takes his helmet off all the time. It's very much like this show.
Okay, But do the other Spartans take their helmets
Mm-hmm.
off in the game?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so it's not that out of line for them to be
No,
without their
not
helmet.
at all.
Well,
Okay.
the thing is just like how often he takes the helmet off. So like if he's in his meow meow armor,
Meow meow.
meow meow armor. So like if he's in his armor, like the natural state of it is to keep the helmet on at all times, because like if he's out in the field and he needs to go into combat, he shouldn't have to take the time to put his helmet on before he gets down to business. So the idea that he keeps taking his helmet off on this mission kind of goes against what the Spartans are trained to do. Like, it's one thing if like he's walking through, the rubble space station and decides to take his helmet off, but it's another thing to be out in the field where, there could be like unknown dangers out there, and to have him be vulnerable by like getting like shot in the head or something like that.
Yeah, isn't this planet supposed to be like filled with plague-ridden zombies?
Well,
No. So like basically the story behind the Reach for Life installation is that only 6 versions of the Reach for Life thing worked, and it was basically to terraform hostile planets. And so what the cover story is that everyone in this Reach for Life installation died from a mysterious illness or plague.
Oh, so just like 6 people.
No, 6 installations. There were more people in this Reach for Life area that were living there. And they were all like botanists and scientists and stuff like that. But the official story is that there was some type of plague that wiped them out, and John was the only survivor. So the fact that Halsey was there ahead of time and that John was drawing these alien artifact things kind of lends itself to the idea that maybe like the UNSC under Halsey's orders like killed everyone here to cover up something. So we don't know exactly what happened.
I have another question.
yeah.
So in that scene, where in John's memory, his father is like, if plants can live here, then we can live here, and I'm making a way that plants can live here. But like, it's a planet full of trees. Don't plants already live there?
Yeah.
No, all those trees were created by the Reach for Life project. So,
Okay.
so like it's basically like a
They
like a little
terraformed.
outpost that they terraformed.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
The whole-
originally
the-
it was like a desert.
The whole planet is
Planet.
actually very hostile to life, and the whole point of the Reach for Life project was to basically create livable like oases on hostile planets.
Mhm.
Okay.
Very
Um,
sci-fi.
Yeah. The other thing that, and I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on this because it's kind of a joke, but really I did not need to see as a Halo fan is Master Chief struggle to use a shovel. Like you could tell that Pablo was in this freaking hulking plastic armor and sitting there like, okay, now we want you to dig a hole. And he's like awkwardly trying to dig a hole
Not
within
gonna
his,
pre-dig that hole
yeah,
for me?
it's
or-
like, oh my god, I just didn't need to see that. And then when you see how many holes that they digged around the area, I just picture in my head him awkwardly trying to dig a hole while Halsey sits there on her tablet, and I'm just like, I just didn't need that, man.
Well, Creepy Aiden had that like digging machine. Like you'd think that they would have brought like a couple other like manual laborers to like help them dig, because Master Chief remembered that he buried this thing.
Oh, I forgot. This is the creepy guy that tried to make out with Cortana.
Yeah, he's a weirdo.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, Creepy Aiden, is that what
Yep,
you called him?
Creepy Aiden.
I love that. That's a great nickname. It's almost as good as Piece of Shit from Invasion.
We're
Okay,
gonna
so
shorten that to Creighton.
Creighton, I like that.
that was really my biggest negative for this part was the helmet thing took me out of it, because at this point in time they're making a point of showing us how irritating it is. It's just, why would you do that to the people who are watching your show?
And the crazy thing is like at the end of the episode, he's wearing his helmet, and this is the scene where like he realizes that Halsey's the bad guy, right?
Mhm.
So like they choose to do that scene with the helmet on where you can't see his expressions, and then like all the scenes that like you didn't need to see his expressions in, like they took the helmet off for. It was very strange.
It's very strange. Everything else I more or less enjoyed. I really liked the back and forth between him and Cortana on the ship, where he's like, "You're ruining it," like that.
That was cute.
Yeah, it brings more of their
I
relationship.
would have liked to have heard her entire explanation for slip space personally.
Well, you see,
It's like a ball of yarn. Shut-
I hope we never hear it.
I hope we don't either.
I don't ever want to know.
It's like a ball of yarn in 10 dimensions.
And
Will
the,
somebody please just explain it?
it's probably on like the freaking Paramount Plus Halo website or some shit.
Probably.
The other thing that I really enjoyed was just like cinematography wise, the whatever. The scene where Master Chief is like kneeling behind his younger self as he's having that flashback while the kid's drawing on the pages and stuff like that. Just the way the camera was working and seeing Master Chief in his full uniform looking at a younger version of himself. I just thought that was really cool.
Yeah, it was cool.
It was really well done.
And it's also
it.
fun how like they cut back to like Halsey and creepy Aiden, and they're just looking at him, and it's all like boring.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know, like it's not like all flashy and stuff like that. They're just like, what's he doing?
Yeah. What's he looking at? And then you see him and it's like, oh. Yeah. It was good stuff.
What did you think of like them bleeding in like the Halo theme during the Miranda and Kai's?
Dude, I get goosebumps. That I don't know, man. That
don't know what
freaking
you're
theme
talking
song.
So like one of the big one of the big criticisms of the show from the game fans is that they're not utilizing the score from the games, which is very epic.
Mm-hmm.
And then but they're using like bits and pieces of it to hint like
They're teasing you with it.
Yeah.
Well,
that's all right.
when they talk about the sacred ring or like the Halo, you hear a little like like which is part
Don't
of
ever
like
do that again.
the Halo theme.
How dare you? He has a lovely voice.
Okay.
The point is that this goes towards my theory that they're basically like leading up to what is in the game.
Yeah.
So like by
Gotta
the
hope
end of
so.
this season, I feel like we're going to be in full game mode, or at least early next season, hopefully. Now, I could be wrong, but I feel like they're dropping these little seeds to kind of set up the fact that like, okay, we're not quite where you guys want us to be yet, but we're headed there.
What I was, for some reason in my brain, I had Flood in my head, which I know you guys don't know what it is, but Kadish does. But I was like watching this, and that kid, when he's drawing on his pages, I'm like, oh, he's drawing a flood spore or something like that. And then when they went down and they found the artifact, I was like, oh, it's keeping like frozen flood inside this freaking alien thing. I was so distracted by like, I want flood in this freaking show.
That's the other
I
race
want
of
those zombies
That's
that you guys were talking about.
the
Oh,
flood
that's
is the
it? Okay.
zombies. Yeah, I was just like, I'm itching for it, man.
it's the third faction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Baddies.
The Zerg.
So, when you say like they're gearing up to give us like, I guess the next season will be more of like what you see in the game. Do you
Mhm.
think that they're intentionally inciting people to hate this?
I think that
Leading up?
I think that they approach this as like a 9-hour movie. And so like, the fact that we're getting it piecemeal hour by hour is upsetting people because they can't see where the show's headed. Like these last 3 episodes have all been setup episodes.
Yeah.
And a lot of people consider them to be very slow, and they are slow. But like, if you look at it as like the first third or first half of like a larger movie, they need to set all this stuff up before they can start paying it off.
Mhm.
It's like they need to introduce these characters as for people like me who aren't familiar with this. We have to go into it pretending that people aren't familiar with this world, but yet at the same time give people like you enough of it to keep you happy, which they aren't doing very well, but yet set up all these characters that you guys already know, but more for people like me who don't know them.
The series really needs to
So-
be bingeable though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Is it making you want to?
So
watch more?
I'm not hating this show as much as
Okay.
these guys are. This episode wasn't that good. The whole digging holes thing just was asinine.
Stupid.
It was really slow. And the whole Kwan Ha thing, I don't see the point of her.
Yeah.
But I did like the stuff with Silver Team, and it's just I'm still invested. I'm enjoying this show overall, and I want to see where it goes.
is
So-
it just me, or was like the second Forerunner artifact like really out in the open? Like it shouldn't have been that hard
was
to
a little
find.
hole
Well,
in the
okay,
ground.
so he had to go through
Like a canyon system or something, right?
Yeah, it looked like there was like a barrier.
But when they approached the artifact, there was like a big hole over it.
Yeah.
Like, you could see it from like
you could jump down onto it and
Yeah.
impale
Yeah, I don't
yourself.
know.
I don't know. It didn't bother me that much. I just figured they went through a cave and they found like an opening somewhere. But that opening that you see the artifact under might not be accessible from outside.
I mean, I look at this series. It's like we know a lot of people that play Halo, okay, but and I kind of related to a lot of people that play like World of Warcraft or something. It's like, but you get a studio and it's like, okay, we're gonna make a series, a multi-million dollar prolonged series that we want more people to watch than just people that play the game. And even these games that have big, huge, successful audiences that play these games, they're a very small faction of people that play games and absorb entertainment out there. So you have to approach something like this for the masses. If you're making a show for the little fraction of people that actually play the games, you might as well not make the game.
It's not a little fraction.
But overall, in the grand scheme of things, these games have very small amount of people to play.
I don't know, hundreds of millions of people.
They don't have that many people to play these games. Not hundreds of millions. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, they do.
This has been a franchise since 2000. So like this is like a 22-year franchise.
I mean, that's the same thing with the Resident Evil movies. That they're fucking garbage and they don't compare.
Resident Evil was never as big as Halo was. Like Halo's still like a huge game.
It's a AAA top tier Xbox selling.
But it's still a small amount of the population of people in the world that actually play these games.
Okay, talking about the world, there's 7 billion people.
They make these games, these shows for mass consumption, not just for the small sliver of people that play these games.
We've spent 3 episodes or 4 episodes so far trying to explain Master Chief's humanity. But as a game player, I've never once in my freaking entire time playing any of the video games felt like he wasn't human. He always had emotions. He always cared about the people he was around. He always wanted to do what was best and what was right for humanity. I didn't need this. I didn't need 3 episodes of him going, I am a robot, now I am alive. Like, what? Why?
I don't know.
It's not part of his character as far as I'm concerned. And even in the books.
It's probably a very hard line for them to walk to try to make something that's going to make everybody out there that's consuming this happy. It's fucking impossible.
I don't think it's impossible.
One thing that we did not get in this episode was McKee. Like she was conspicuously absent here.
Didn't even notice.
And she's headed towards Madrigal.
Yeah, of course she is.
That's the
because Kwan Ha is going to be special, and she's going to touch an artifact on Madrigal, and oh my God, just glass the planet already, please. That's another big question I have. I wonder if they're going to, because I do not think they're going to do the Fall of Reach, which was a big moment in the storyline of the core games and stuff. And that happens in 2552, which is the same year that this show takes place. I don't think they're going to do the Fall of Reach this season. I think it's going to be the Madrigal is going to be glassed or something like that.
Well, it'd be like a cliffhanger.
Well, the thing is like if McKee leads the Covenant to Madrigal, and then they find out that they have both Forerunner artifacts at Reach, and she like makes a deal with Venture Graph to spare his life if he reveals where Reach is, then the Covenant can go to Reach to get those artifacts back and glass the planet and have like the Fall of Reach. And then like in the evacuation, like Master Chief leads them to Halo, and like that's where the season ends, and season 2 picks up with them basically discovering the Halo ring.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean anything to me.
How many artifacts are there?
There's like
all over the place.
Yeah,
there are a bunch. There's not just like these 2. Okay.
No, they're spread out all over the galaxy.
Do you think that there's going to be like one special person for each artifact?
No, I think it'll just be certain humans can activate Forerunner tech.
Yeah,
Master Chief.
It'll be freaking Kwan and
McKee.
McKee. Yeah.
Well, in the games, the Forerunners, who are like the super aliens who kind of ruled the galaxy.
Are those the
No, that's the Covenant.
Okay.
The Skeksis, space
the prophets.
Skeksis, yeah.
Space Skeksis, yeah, the prophets. But basically, the Forerunners selected humanity to be like their successors, and so like they seeded in like genetic markers for humanity that allowed them to access and operate Forerunner technology. It's kind of like in Stargate with the Ancients. If you have the ancient gene, you can operate ancient technology.
Oh, it is very similar to Stargate Atlantis.
Yeah.
It's Shepard. Yeah. Okay. So Master Chief is basically Shepard. Remember how he sits in that chair and he's like, "Oh, I didn't know I could activate the ancient technology." Same exact thing.
Okay.
Who stole what from who?
Here's what I want.
I don't know.
I want 0 Kwan.
Mm-hmm.
I want more Skeksis, space Skeksis, which is very, very hard to say. And I want all of Silver Team.
Yes.
So if somebody can recut this, give me more. And more naked Chief with just the helmet.
calling Ivan Ortega.
Driving his car, vacuuming. Helicoptering. And it actually makes him fly.
Jesus Christ.
That's what I want.
I will almost agree with you, except for the helicoptering thing.
Lightsabers that you can fly around.
I'd watch the shit out of that.
Yeah.
I don't care about Kwan. I understand that
I hate her so much.
They're gonna make her super important to the story, but I just don't care. I want Silver's team. I really enjoyed the Miranda and the Spartans. That whole thing worked in this episode.
Yes.
I enjoyed the hell out of that. I want to see Miranda work with the Spartans later on, which in the game she does. So it kind of, maybe they're setting that up.
It's feeling like a bit of a buddy cop thing where she's like the hard ass, I don't even like these Spartans. And the Spartans are like, we're fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
And she's like, you know what? You ain't wrong. It's giving me like a buddy cop vibe, and I'm here for it. I'm really enjoying it. I want more of that. Less Kwan.
Yeah, I really liked Kai in this episode. Like the previous 3 episodes, like she was just kind of like a background player, and she was very stoic, and she was like curious about what Chief was up to. And in this one, like we actually got to see her as like an actual character for a change, which was great. And I'm kind of hoping that they do the same with Vanek and Riz.
Yeah,
because like right now they're very like kind of like cardboard.
Dude, if Vanek like gets unchipped or whatever, he's gonna be freaking awesome.
I am looking forward to like the Master Chief coming home and Kai being like, Master Chief, psst, come here. Guess what I did?
I took my thing out.
I took my thing out too. Look, we're like holding the back buddies.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's really all I have on this episode. It was a drag. Kwan Ha just pumped the brakes on this whole thing.
Just to reiterate, none of us like Kwan Ha.
Nobody likes it. Dude, even
Let's go.
Listen, I even watched
I don't want to talk about Kwan Ha.
I watched this freaking review of somebody who like in general really, really likes this show, and they always like they do like lore background and stuff like that. And like this dude's always super positive. At the end of his video, he's like, yeah, the only thing I don't give a shit about is Kwan Ha. I'm like, even the people who love this show don't like Kwan Ha.
I have an idea.
What's up?
Moving forward, and I feel like we need something to get us through the rest of this season. Moving forward, while we review Halo, can we just not talk about Kwan?
That sounds
Everything
good to
that
me.
happened, we're just zeroing it out and don't talk about it. Can we do that, please? Please?
I don't know. I don't know if we can do that.
Can we talk to the producer?
I guarantee you his OCD would not let us
No,
do
kidding me?
I like torturing you guys by talking about Kwan Ha's
Yeah.
storyline.
All right, but that's it. That's all I have for Halo. Final thoughts in this episode, Vader.
I mean, whatever.
Okay. Jude, final thoughts?
You know, talking about it, there were a lot of really fun, great things in this episode, but everything with Kwan just, it like zeroed it out for me. Like I was texting you guys while I was watching this, and I was just like, God, I hate this show. I don't hate this show. I hate her whole storyline, which they're making really important, and also writing it so terribly that I feel like a dupe for even being like, should I give a shit about this? She's so horribly written, and her story makes zero sense. You don't need her at all in this, and it's ruining it.
She really adds nothing to the story.
I feel like I could like this, but everything that happens with her, I hate.
Yeah.
And it's making me hate the whole show.
Okay. Katie's final thoughts?
Again, so we hate Kwan Ha.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kwan's story is so bad that it basically negates all the good stuff in the episode.
I'm this emoji.
Yeah. So overall, like I did enjoy this episode. I don't think it's as bad as everyone's saying it is. Yes, the Kwan Ha stuff was terrible, but the stuff with Miranda, Silver Team, and Master Chief, I actually enjoyed. I like the lore building that they're doing. I like the fact that they're taking their time to set up the groundwork for the second half of the season, because next episode is the midpoint. And so if they follow a typical kind of like story structure, the next episode is going to have some type of big reversal that's going to lead us into the rising action of the later half of the season. So I'm hoping that these guys are actually, I'm giving them credit where credit's due. But overall, like I hope that this is the last kind of like setup episode that we get, and we actually start seeing stuff start to happen and move the narrative forward, and less emphasis on Kwan, even though I think that they're probably going to put more emphasis on her in the coming episodes. So, but overall, yeah, like I actually enjoyed this episode, and I'm enjoying the series so far. So
far, this is my least favorite episode, but we'll see where they go next. The preview for the next episode has a lot of action in it, so I'm hoping that we have some badass fight scenes and stuff.
I feel like Miranda is so much more of an interesting character than Kwan Ha, and I would love to see more of her.
Yeah, for sure. All right, guys. Oh, what?
So again, we don't like.
We don't like Kwan Ha, and I want to.
I just want to really get that out there.
I need to
that we don't like fucking Kwan Ha.
Send it to the internet.
We need to specify.
Because we really, really said it a lot. That we really don't fucking like Kwan Ha.
We do
I
need.
don't know if people get it.
People need.
Are we sure that we've stressed it enough?
100%.
That we don't like Kwan Ha.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Great.
hashtag anti-Ha.
I just want to specify though that we have nothing against the actress who plays Kwan Ha. It's not her fault. It's It's the
Oh, I
writers.
dislike her
I
very
would like
much.
for you to.
I don't like the actress.
Don't say that.
Hashtag release the Quanless cut.
Quanless cut. I love it.
I really hate her haircut too.
It's terrible.
Get over it. That's the least of your worries. Her entire character sucks. You want to talk about her hair?
It doesn't help.
Doesn't help. That's for sure.
Her character sucks, but she has a lovely coif.
Will you please end this?
Yes.
God damn.
Where can they find you on the socials?
You can find me at Matt Bader 74 on the Twitter. And
Perfect. Shut up. Jude, where can they find you on the socials?
No, don't find me. I am Juju. Socials.
Cool.
Kadish.
Kadish, where can they find you at, bud?
Find me at Matthew Kadish, Kadish on Twitter. KadishBooks.com takes you to my Amazon page where you can check out my novels. And also, we're only 50 subs away from hitting 5,000 subs on YouTube. So if you guys haven't subscribed to us on YouTube yet, please consider to do so because we would love to hit that 5K milestone.
Yeah, and Vader will get half a tattoo.
No, I will not.
No.
I don't do halvesies on challenges.
All right, I'm Alex, the Salty Nerd. Catch me on our Discord app, saltynerdiscord.com. Stay salty, my friends.